He wore the uniform of honor, a decorated U.S. Marine officer trusted by his colleagues, respected by his superiors. But behind the badge, behind the medals, he was hiding a dark secret. For over a decade, Lieutenant Commander Thomas Everett moved from port to port, leaving a trail of terror that no one suspected. Young sailors, civilian contractors, even families living near naval bases vanished without a trace. And he always had the perfect alibi: he was at sea. Tonight, you're about to hear the chilling story of a serial killer who hid in plain sight, and the shocking twists that finally brought him down. Stay with us, because the truth is far darker than you ever imagined. Subscribe to the channel for the latest true crime cases. Don't miss a single story. Lieutenant Commander Tom Everett's life appeared to be the epitome of discipline and honor. Born in Norfolk, Virginia, in 1978, he was the son of a career Navy officer and a schoolteacher. From an early age, he displayed intelligence, charm, and a meticulous attention to detail. Neighbors described him as polite, well-mannered, almost precocious. But beneath the veneer of a model child, Everett harbored impulses that were far darker. He would spend hours alone, watching the world with an intensity that unsettled even his parents, cataloging people's routines, memorizing their habits, and inventing ways to manipulate situations to his advantage. As a teenager, he was never caught stealing, but his pattern of observing and exploiting others had begun. By 1996, Everett had enlisted in the Marine Corps. He thrived on structure, excelling in leadership training, marksmanship, and tactical strategy. His superiors praised him, and he quickly rose through the ranks. His charisma and intelligence made him a natural mentor to younger Marines, but few suspected the predator lurking beneath the uniform. Norfolk became his base of operations in the early 2000s, a city with busy docks, transient populations, and neighborhoods full of working families whose children could easily vanish without immediate notice. The first series of disappearances began in 2007. Young women near the naval base went missing under circumstances that initially appeared unrelated. Authorities suspected runaways or accidents near the Elizabeth River, yet patterns began to emerge. All disappeared near Everett's area of operation, all connected tangentially to the military. Everett's schedule conveniently placed him elsewhere during investigations, often deployed at sea or attending exercises, providing him with the perfect alibi. His meticulous nature allowed him to cover traces, erase logs, and manipulate minor reports so that nothing seemed suspicious. Families, however, felt the absence keenly. Marissa Collins, 22, disappeared after a late shift at Charleston Naval Shipyard. Her mother, Claudia Collins, searched frantically, filing police reports, contacting the Navy Security Office, and pleading for surveillance footage. All she received were polite reassurances and half-hearted searches. Everett had studied her family's movements, and while he never targeted her directly, he learned from the failed attempt, refining his methods for future victims. By 2010, Everett had transferred to San Diego, California. Here, the transient nature of port cities gave him more opportunities. Sailors, dock workers, and civilian contractors rotated frequently, leaving gaps in supervision. Two young men recently enlisted disappeared while jogging near Naval Base San Diego. Everett's position gave him access to restricted areas, storage facilities, and shipyards where no one would notice a civilian or junior personnel moving through the docks at odd hours. Investigators noted correlations but could never confirm a suspect. Everett's uniform and impeccable reputation provided him the shield of authority. The pattern continued in Pearl Harbor and Mayport. Each city reported sporadic disappearances, all with overlapping timelines to Everett's assignments. It was the seeming randomness and geographic distance that protected him. He studied police reports obsessively, noting errors, exploiting bureaucratic delays, and learning which cases were likely to fade without resolution. He kept detailed personal logs, innocuous in appearance, coded in a way only he could understand, recording every opportunity, movement, and observation that could later be used to his advantage. By the summer of 2015, Everett's confidence began to falter slightly. In San Diego, Lydia Palmer, a civilian contractor, narrowly escaped his attempt at abduction. She was observant, independent, and cautious. Everett's approach, precise as it had been for years, was caught partially on drone surveillance implemented by the Navy for new security protocols. The footage showed a figure matching Everett's description following Palmer near restricted docks. He managed to avoid direct identification, but the incident planted seeds of doubt in the minds of investigators. They began connecting patterns across ports Norfolk, San Diego, Pearl Harbor, Mayport, and discovered a common thread: Everett. The first major twist came in Norfolk in fall 2017, when Everett was temporarily assigned to Naval Station Norfolk for exercises. A 19-year-old Marine recruit, Hannah Lopez, disappeared during a routine evening run. Security cameras caught a man resembling Everett carrying a large duffel bag. NSIS began scrutinizing Everett's past assignments and locations. The connections were circumstantial but alarming. Everett responded by adjusting his tactics, changing victim profiles, targeting those with less documentation, and moving operations to isolated areas aboard ships or remote base facilities. The second twist, and the one that brought the investigation closer to fruition, occurred in Mayport, Florida. Two civilian teenagers, daughters of naval employees, vanished from base perimeters. NSIS assembled a profile, narrowing suspects to those with access, seniority, and mobility across bases. Everett matched every criterion. He realized the pattern was emerging and adjusted further, avoiding predictable routines, moving victims aboard ships at sea, and exploiting periods when his colleagues were off duty. In 2018, while aboard the USS Boxer off the Hawaiian coast, Everett made a critical miscalculation. Alexis Monroe, a junior sailor, began noticing irregularities: a locker left unlocked, unusual orders, and personal items of colleagues being misplaced. She followed him discreetly, documenting his nighttime movements and interactions with new civilian contractors. Alexis's observations were precise, and she began feeding anonymous tips to NSIS, who coordinated a stakeout without revealing her identity. The third twist occurred during a deployment. Everett attempted to abduct a young contractor late one night. NSIS, informed by Alexis's tips, intercepted him. Everett's arrest shocked the Navy. Investigators combed through his logs, manifests, and personal effects, uncovering at least 14 confirmed victims and dozens of other suspicious cases linked to him across the country. Everett's meticulous planning, intelligence, and rank had allowed him to evade justice for over a decade, but his arrogance and underestimation of an observant junior sailor had finally led to his capture. Even after his arrest, the twists continued. Certain victims were never found, and rumors of accomplices circulated, suggesting others in the Navy or associated civilian networks had assisted him or covered for him. NSIS kept portions of the investigation classified, fearing public panic and the impact on military morale. Families of missing persons finally received partial closure, but the shadow of uncertainty remained. Everett's capture prompted reforms in military protocol, ensuring no officer, regardless of rank, could operate without scrutiny. Today, he serves life without parole. Ports where he served, Norfolk, San Diego, Mayport, Pearl Harbor, remember him as a cautionary tale. Evil can hide in plain sight, even in uniform, even among the most trusted. The families of victims continue to search for closure, while the Navy maintains enhanced surveillance and reporting protocols to prevent any repeat of the horrors Everett orchestrated. Lieutenant Commander Thomas Everett's name remains synonymous with terror, cunning, and the devastating consequences of unchecked authority. A serial killer who thought he was untouchable, undone only by vigilance, persistence, and the bravery of a junior sailor who refused to ignore what she saw. His story is a chilling reminder. Monsters sometimes wear the uniform of heroes, and justice often comes not from rank or power, but from courage, observation, and truth. Subscribe for more chilling true crime stories. Every case exposes the hidden darkness lurking in plain sight.